Everybody, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you are here. Y'all, today you are joining me in the garden and we got a to-do list and we're gonna just work through our to-do list. I have several things that I wanna show you, several things that we're gonna do together. And so I'm glad that you are here. If you saw my last video, it was eviction day this past weekend where we took the majority of our plants and we planted them outside in the in-ground garden space. If you did not catch that video, definitely I will pop it up here. If you're brand new here, thank you for stopping by. My name is Barbara. I live in Tennessee and we garden on a we have a homestead of about 75 acres. We only garden on a very small portion of that. We have 3 main gardening spaces that we garden in. Behind my house, I have 5 raised beds. I also have a high tunnel that's 30 by 96. And then I also have an in-ground growing space of about 4,000 square feet. And so that in-ground space is what we just planted last. And we're about 75% of the way done with that. We still have a ways to go, but it has been pouring down raining for the last 48 hours. And so this is my first time outside just to take a look at everything. And so there's a couple of things I want to do while I have a pocket of time. And there's some things that I want to show you. I got a couple of different things with my onions. They're not looking like they normally look. And so I want to talk through that, show you my green stalks, just show you all the things, right? And so I hope that wherever you are, I hope that your gardens are doing well. I know that probably some of you already have planted your gardens out. And then I know that many of you still have plants in your house, near your house, and they have not been evicted yet. And so I'm wishing you happy eviction day whenever you get to it. So I'm putting on my gloves. Y'all, I love these things. These are called Arm Saver gloves. And this is my second pair. I like them so much. I got the first pair as a gift. I like them so much that I bought me some more. And so I actually have these on our website. I'm doing a trial run to sell them because many of you, when I wore the last pair in a previous video, you guys were asking me about the gloves. I absolutely love them. It's made by a woman-owned company, so you know I love that. They come in several different prints, and so what we have on our website is the print Garden of Paradise, which is the first pair that you saw, and then I don't remember the second pair, but it's like a navy blue color. I will have to show that on another video, but I love them because it protects your arms from insect bites, from the sun and all that while you're outside working in the garden. You guys have seen me wear the Farmer's Defense sleeves before, and I like those, but I like these better because with the Farmer's Defense sleeves, you still have to wear a pair of gloves and put the sleeves on. This is like an all-in-one. It's like a nice little suede situation going on. They're cute, and it protects my arms, and I like that it's coming this way. My arms are pretty big. So the Farmer's Defense, they tend to roll, but if you have smaller arms, then it probably will work fine for you. But if you're interested in getting these gloves, I have a limited quantity on our website. Go to livingfoodsfarm.com under skin and body. They're $34.99. And y'all, look at the detail. They are awesome. So the first thing we're going to do is actually plant some seeds or start some seeds. And so I want to show you my little experiment right here. So these are green beans. These are J green beans that you and I started about a week ago. And they have come up looking quite nice. And so we're going to start some purple hull peas as well. So let me kind of tell you why I'm doing this. But first, let me go ahead and get my soil in my trays and stuff. And then we also have something we're going to unbox too. I'm going to get the soil and stuff in my trays. And then we'll talk about why I'm starting these things particularly and the goal. So what I just showed you were seeds that you and I started together last week, and those are jade green bean seeds. So recently I was in Houston for a week, and I went to a nursery there. I did a video on it, so if you haven't seen it, I'll pop it up here. But I absolutely love that nursery, and one of the things that I saw in that nursery is that they actually had green bean started plants, and they also had cowpea started plants. Well, I had never ever seen that before, and to be quite honest, I never even thought about starting those seeds because that was always in the category of direct sow. But I often talk about on this channel that it is okay to challenge the status quo and to be a little bit of a rebel in your own garden. And so I started those green bean seeds last week, and of course they popped up. And again, I'm surprised, but again, I'm not surprised because why? Seeds want to grow. And so if you put a seed in soil, it is going to germinate if it's given the proper conditions. Now, there may be issues with transplanting and all of that, but I believe 100% that these green beans are going to be just fine. And another reason why I started the green bean seeds is because I have typically had an issue with germination of green bean seeds when I direct sow. It usually takes me a couple of times. For me, it kind of acts like carrots. Like, they have to be watered, and they have to be babied a little bit before they'll germinate. That's just been my experience. And so if I can start the green beans and just put them in the ground, that is far easier for me than anything else. And so then after I get my soil down, what I'm going to start as well are some not black eyed peas, but purple whole peas. And so last year, remember, I did not have a good purple whole pea year. I had to sow my seeds 3 times. I had very poor germination, and it set me back a lot with my purple whole peas, and plus the ones that did germinate just did not grow very well. So one of the things I remember that I forgot to do was to spray my insect spray even before I put on the gloves. We do sell this in our shop, this insect repellent spray. It's all natural, 4 ingredients, and so it doesn't have DEET in it, which can be toxic. And so if you need some insect spray because you struggle with the bugs loving you like they love me, then definitely go to our shop and get you some. But let me put back on my gloves. But I wanted to make sure that I had that extra protection. So one of the things I was thinking about as I was filling up my trays with soil, and I want to talk about, is direct sowing versus starting things from seed versus transplanting. And so I'm going to do just a quick little teaching in case there's somebody who is brand new and you are a brand new gardener. There's really 3 ways that you can get plants in your garden. Either you are going to start it from seed, you're going to direct sow, or you're going to buy transplants and put them in. Those are the 3 ways that you're going to get plants into your garden. And as I was filling up these things with soil, what I realized is that I direct sow very little. And it never even really occurred to me until I was doing this right here. And as I was thinking through, man, why have I not thought about doing green beans before and all that stuff? Because a similar crop is squash and cucumbers and zucchini. When I first started gardening, I was told you only direct sow those and you should not start them as seeds. Well, I was a rebel after the first couple of years and I started from seed, and that's what I've been doing ever since. Let me grab a pen. So I realized that it's hard for me to write with these gloves on. I realized that I direct sow very little. And I started to think about that. And I realized also, I don't like to direct sow. That is what I realized, is that I don't like to direct sow as much as I like to start from seed and transplant. And so is there a right or wrong? I don't think there's a right or wrong, but I think you have to realize what your preference is and what works better for you. So let's talk about the pros and cons of each and why I choose to start seeds more than I do, which is also so ironic to me, because if you guys have been here, you've heard my story that when I first learned how to start seed, I did not do well. It was horrible. I had 0 success. Not 10% success. I had 0 success in starting seed. And now that is my favorite way to get seeds to get plants into my garden. And then the second would be transplanting. The third would be direct sowing. And again, that just never even occurred to me. So I would love to know in the comments, out of those 3, which one is your favorite? To start seeds, direct sow, or to buy transplants and transplant in your garden? Let me know down in the comments, because I want to know, am I the only one that would prefer to start seeds? But let's talk about the reason why I like to start from seed. And again, it was just a revelation to me as I was sitting here just filling up my trays, right? And I'm just making some labels so that I know what is what. Which, it's only 2 crops right now in here, but in case something goes awry, I just like to have a label for at least each tray. So let's talk about why I prefer to start my own seed. So number 1 is I think for me, I can see the progress in my house as things are going on, and I can walk by, I can see it, and I can control the environment, right? I can control the temperature for the most part in my house. I can control the amount of moisture and water, and I get real time updates, meaning every day I can walk by there, and sometimes I might walk by there 4 or 5 times a day, and that's my business. Yes, I do. But every morning for sure, when I wake up, I'm able to see what happened overnight. And so I like that versus when it's in my garden, I have to wait till I go to the garden. It's among other stuff. And I just feel like it takes longer, but maybe it doesn't take longer. I feel like I don't see the immediate results like right away. And so that's one thing that I like about starting my own seeds. And maybe that's because I like a little bit more control. Yeah, that's probably what it is. Okay. The second thing is that I like to be able to place the plants where I want them. So again, it goes back to control. I feel like I have more control over where they're going to go. So when it comes to direct sowing, the things that I routinely direct sow, no matter what, are carrots. I've never started, no, I cannot say that. I have started carrots from seed one time and transplanted them. And you know what? It actually worked just fine. So that just goes to show you, you can start from seed, I guess anything. I don't care what they say. But I traditionally do carrots from seed because it's a lot, and I do the pelleted seed now instead of the broadcast sowing. But when it comes to other things, let's say I wanted to do lettuce. Obviously, I can broadcast sow that, or I can buy pelleted lettuce seed and place that individually. But when I have lettuce plants, I can put them where I want them to go. So I can put a lettuce here, I can put a lettuce there, I can space them out however I want versus being at the whim of how they grow when I direct sow it. When I have all of the seeds that I just started, over this past winter, over the last 14 weeks, I have 1,200 plants, right? I have tons and tons of zinnias. I would much prefer to have individual zinnia plants where I can put them where I want them versus they all be in one space. Or I have to go around to 10 different places to put a zinnia seed. I would just rather go around to 10 places and place the zinnia plant. So for me, that's why I prefer to start my own seeds. When it comes to direct sowing, just like these peas and these green beans, I went out there a couple of days ago, right after the first day of rain, to see if I had any germination, right? In my purple hull pea row, I could see the peas. They had not germinated, but the rain had pushed them up like on top of the soil. So it was no longer covered by dirt. And it needs to be covered in order to germinate, right? So I had to go through and cover it all up versus if I do it this way and I have plants that germinate from this, I can just go out and place the plants in the hole and I'm done. I don't have to worry about it. I'll be able to see real time that, oh, okay, this one didn't germinate. I need more. Let me start more seeds versus me waiting a week out there and a week goes by. I'm like, oh my goodness, they still haven't germinated versus in my house. I know, man, okay, it hadn't germinated. I see no movement whatsoever. Then I know that I need to start more. So maybe it just boils down to control. I'm not really sure, but starting my own seeds is definitely, for me, the way to go. Now, I know I have some friends that prefer to direct sow. They don't like to start seeds because it's too much variability for them, or they feel like they're not as good at it, and so they prefer to direct sow, and they have the opposite type of, I guess, thoughts about it, that they can put it where it wants to go. I mean, you can use, I guess, the same argument for direct sowing. But if you are a new gardener, then obviously when I was a new gardener, I did a lot of direct sowing and I did a lot of transplant buying because in order to start seeds, you do need a little bit of an infrastructure. You got to at least have a shelf and you got to at least have grow lights, right? Versus if you're buying a transplant, all you do is buy the transplant and put it in the ground. So if you're a first-time gardener, I can see where it's going to be much easier and an easier point of entry for you to just direct sow or to buy transplants. But I would hardly encourage you that if that's all you're doing and you haven't started seeds, then I would highly encourage you to put that on your list for this fall or for next spring. I do have a workbook that talks all about how to start seeds and all of that if you're interested. But when it comes to buying transplants, that is my second favorite way of filling my garden with plants, and I like it because it's just easy. Somebody's already done the work for me. It's already established and I can just pay for it, plop it, and go. Now the downside is that it gets very costly, right? And so if you're just buying one plant here and there, not a problem. But in the spaces that I have, it would be nearly impossible for me to fill up my whole garden with transplants. That would cost me a ton of money that I don't even know it would be cost effective for me to garden, if that makes sense, right? The amount of money that I would spend versus the yield that I would get, would that make sense when you're paying sometimes $5 a plant? And y'all, I just did 1,200 plants. So do the math on that. $5 times 1,200. What's the math on that? Is that like $6,000 or $600? No, it can't be $600. Yeah. So that's a lot. That's a lot. Okay. And so that doesn't even make sense. But I can guarantee you I didn't spend that amount of money on seeds. Okay. And so it just makes sense for me to either start my seeds or direct sow. But if I'm picking, I'm going to start my own seeds. I'm going to buy transplants for the things that I can't start, for a little onesie twosies here and there, and then versus direct sowing. So I just thought that I would talk about that because I think that's important to talk about, especially if you are a new gardener, or if you're a seasoned gardener. You might have got into a rut and thought, you know what, I never do X, Y, and Z. Maybe I should try that. And I've been gardening now for 5 years, and it just occurred to me that I prefer to start my own seeds or buy transplants. I don't really like the direct sowing method. And so this right here is going to work perfect for me, provided we have germination. And we should have germination if we give it the right conditions. So, let me push these down. Now, if you're wondering, I took off the gloves, and I know somebody's going to be fussing because y'all know I got bit by sticking my hands in some soil. But it's easier for me to like pinpoint and sow the seed when using these kinds of gloves. Now, these kind of gloves, again, they are a little bit thicker, and this is great for when you have your hands in dirt in your bed and soil and you're planting. Great. When I am doing direct sowing seeds, I would probably wear a different glove that's a little bit thinner so that I can feel. And I just didn't like something like this. This is much thinner, and so I can feel the seed. Versus here, I use these when I'm actually planting, and stuff in the ground. Okay, so we got everything done. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We did 42 purple hull peas. We might not need all of those. We have, let's see, 5. We have like 12 or 14 green bean seeds coming up, but we'll see what we get. And I did so many purple hull peas because the germination rate has been very poor when buying them from Rare Seeds, which is where I got my seeds from. I also have some in here that were from M.I. Gardener. I probably should have tried these and see how his was. But I wanted to use up the seeds that I had already that were a year older. I try to go from past to recent if I can. So we got these sown. We'll give it some water and we're good to go on this. So I'm going to water this in. I'm going to go back and put it on the shelf, and then we're going to go to our next thing, and we're actually going to start some dahlias from tubers. Okay, so we're going to do some try to grow some plants from dahlia tubers. I have not been successful at growing dahlias. I love dahlias. This is my 3rd time trying. So the first year I did it from, I think I did it from a plant. The second year I tried, I did it from seed. And then this year I'm trying tubers. So if you have any tips at all, let me know. When I did it from seed, I did get them to germinate, and I had a plant. I planted it out and it just did not do well. It did not produce anything. Now, one of the things I know is that dahlias prefer cooler versus hot, steamy, humid weather like we have in the South. And so when I follow people that are in my similar area, they've said that they try to plant their dahlias out later on in the season, and they'll do good, if you start planting them like maybe in July, and they'll last through like September, October, because it prefers cooler temperatures. A lot of dahlia farmers and growers are in the Pacific Northwest or in cooler areas than mine. But I know that you can grow dahlias in the South because I've seen it done. I just haven't been successful. So the seeds did germinate, and those seeds I got were from Floret Farm. That was, I think, a couple of years ago. They germinated. They did fine, but I put them out just like when I put out everything else out, and they just did not do well. The other year, the first year I did, I think I bought a dahlia plant. It did okay, but I think I had 1 or 2 dahlias. That was it. Nothing to clip, nothing to bring in my house. So we are trying it yet again, and this time I bought 2 tubers because they're pricey, y'all. And these are from Petal Pickers. I have one called Caitlin's Joy, and then I have one called Blizzard. So just 2 tubers. That is it. And I want to say each tuber was like 20 bucks, if I'm not mistaken. So let's see. And so what I have is a tray. This is actually a tray that I use that holds microgreens. You can see how deep it is. I thought I would start it here again so I can watch it. And then hopefully once it starts growing, I can put it into like a pot or whatever. So let's just put these in here. And the directions said, I think, water it in. And then look, it has like, okay, it's already sprouting a little bit. That's encouraging. You know what, y'all? I don't want to do that. I want to put this in a pot. That's what I want to do. Let's switch gears. Let's put it in a pot because I just thought about this is going to lay too flat and it's too shallow. So let's transfer this dirt into a 4-inch pot and let's see what that happens. I just wanted to have a chance to, let's see if that's tall enough. Okay, I think we're gonna do it that way. It says that it doesn't need to get too much water. You don't have to water it all the time. So we're gonna do it just like this. You can see that it has a little something right there, which it did not have that before. So I don't know if it just sprouted. I've had these for a couple of weeks now. And so I don't know if it just did that on its own or what happened. But I'll take it. I will take it. And then let's do the other one. And then hopefully, and maybe I won't put them out for a while. You can see this one and what it looks like. So we'll put this in a cup as well. In my mind, it was gonna lay flat, but that doesn't make sense. So let's do it this way. And we got the eye pointing up. And then this one is called Caitlin's Joy. I'm really excited and hope that I get some dahlias. They're so doggone expensive, but they're so beautiful. Oh my goodness, so beautiful. So beautiful. So let me label this one and then we'll move on to our next thing. We have our 2 dahlias, so I'll keep you posted on how those go. I'm gonna wet those and give them some water, and then I'm gonna set them on the shelf, and then we'll see what happens. If you have any tips about growing dahlias from tuber, please put them down below. I need them. Okay, so I'm gonna get that water in, and then let's go over to the onions, and I need your help. Something's going on with my onions. I've never seen it before, and I don't quite know what to do except what Google told me. So let's talk about the onions after I get this watered in and put on the shelf. Okay, y'all. So here's one of my onion beds in the back of the house. And I don't know if you can tell, but you can see right there where my onion tops are flopping over, but they're completely green. And it's sporadic throughout the bed. You see some flopping over there. They're not all standing erect. And I'm not sure why. Let me see if I can show you. They are bulbing up just a little bit, but it's not supposed to be flopping over this early. So onions, again, I've grown onions for 4 years, never an issue, and I've never ever seen this. Now, when I Googled it, it said something about it could be too much water, and I can assure you, I haven't given it too much water. Now, we did have 2 days of heavy rain this week. They were already flopped over. Before that, we had a couple of heavy days of rain, but I wouldn't consider it significant. I mean, we've had 2 days of heavy rain before, and I've never seen this. And it's not on drip as of yet, and I water, I would say maybe once every 2 or 3 days or something like that. So I'm not sure what it is, but typically when your onions flop over, that your onions are flopping over typically when it's time for maturity. So when it's time to harvest your onions, the tops of the stems should be brown and they should flop over. And that means that's a sign that, hey, we're done growing. It's time to harvest. Them flopping over and it's not even time for them to be harvested is a sign that definitely something is wrong. I just don't know what it is. And so I would love to know if you've had this issue before. Again, everything Google says is that it's done maturing, right? And this row right here was planted after this. But if I go here, like it's slightly bulbing up. If you can see, let's see. You can see it's slightly bulbing up. It's hard to do this with one hand. And so they look good outside of that, but something is definitely awry. Now, I have not fertilized yet for the second time. I did fertilize them and put amendments in when I planted them, but I'm not quite sure. So here's what I'm going to do. Now, let me go back. So in terms of these onions, these are from Dixondale. These are candy onions. I've done this variety every single year, so it's not a new variety to me. In terms of them being ready, I have to go back and look at my dates, but they usually take 90 to 100 days. It is like the first week of May or so. And so they're not going to be ready at the earliest at the end of this month. It's probably like 30 more days at least. So in terms of how they look, the part that's in the ground without them flopping over, they look exactly the way that they should in terms of the size of the bulb is right where it should be. And so it doesn't look bad from a bulbing standpoint. It's just whether or not this is going to continue. Now, I do remember last year, I did not have the flopping over, but I do remember being concerned about my onions bulbing up. I felt like they were slow to bulb and like they weren't going to bulb. And then all of a sudden they did bulb up and we did have a pretty successful onion harvest. So again, I'm not really sure. This is all part of the journey. Sometimes things happen and you don't know what it is. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fertilize it with something high in phosphorus for root and bulb development so that if it is trying to signal that it's over, honey, it's not over. I need you to grow some onion bulbs. Then you can slump down and think you're done. But you're not done yet. You're not done until I get some onions. So we're going to do that, but I don't want to do that today because, again, the soil is pretty wet because we had massive rain the past 2 days. That's another reason why I'm not going to fertilize my green stalks today. They desperately need to be fertilized, but in order for me to fertilize, I got to add water to them, and I would rather prefer for them to dry out some because they're already pretty wet. The sun is like really bright. So over this weekend or the next few days, I'm going to fertilize, which is on my list anyway. You want to fertilize your onions about halfway right before they bulb up with something high in phosphorus to kind of help with root development. Also, they are big nitrogen feeders as well. So I will mix up a concoction with those two things and feed them in the next couple of days once it dries out some, and then we'll see what happens and if that works. Worst case scenario, I got a little bit of onion on there, but we want it to bulb all the way up. So that's this bed. Let me also show you the other bed that's back here. Now, oddly enough, I also have onions in my in-ground space, and those are standing straight up, like soldiers. Again, the rain falls in both places. I'm not sure why these will be flopping over and that those are not. So I'm starting to think, okay, is it a nutrient issue? Like, is there something in the soil that's missing versus what's down there? I don't know. Let me go show you the other bed back here, though. So you can see that those look very similar. Yeah, I don't know. If you have tips, let me know. Also, while I'm back here, we're going to harvest a couple of things from the green stalk. Let me show you how the green stalks are doing. Overall, they're doing really, really well. I need to fertilize. So let's talk a little bit about green stalks. Number one, this is the last weekend of the Mother's Day sale. The sale ends on Monday, May 11th. And so if you have not taken advantage of the sale, definitely make sure that you go ahead and do that. Use my code LFF10 for an extra $10 off. Also, this is the last time to get the raspberry. And so let's walk over here to Miss Raspberry. So if you want to get this color, this is the last time to get it. You only have a few more days and raspberry will be gone. And so definitely make sure that you take advantage of the sale. We are going to harvest a couple of things. Let me also show you, I have onions in this green stalk as well that I forgot about. Like this one is completely flopped over, right? But this one is standing up straight. You can kind of see that there for the most part, that one. So let's move this around. This is my first time trying to grow in the green stalk. Like I said, they definitely need to be fertilized for sure, but you can see that these are flopping over some as well. The dill is looking fantastic. So we're gonna harvest some of that. I need to get this. My husband has to come cut the grass. I'll try to get out here before he cut the grass so I can do my video and don't have to compete with him on the lawnmower. But it doesn't look like these are bulbing up yet, but these are planted much later, or about a month later than the other ones. So I don't know, but let's harvest us some dill and we'll fertilize these when we fertilize the rest of the green stalks as well. Okay, let's get some of this dill here looking so good. I'm gonna go ahead and get all of that. Oh, it smells so good. So very good. So it grows well in the green stalk, as you can see. Oh, it smells so good. So, okay, that's all of the dill we have. So now, let's go to this green stalk and let's harvest. Let's see, I got some cilantro that I can harvest here. You can see that. There's some cilantro. Oh, smells so good. There's more dill. Put that in our basket. There's some thyme. I think I'll let that stay. We got some spinach. We'll take some of that. It's almost getting too hot for the spinach. We'll replace it with something else. For sure. We got some oregano growing up here. That looks good. Oh, y'all, it smells so good. Let's get some more spinach right here. I can add that to a salad. So in this basket, we have our spinach, our cilantro, and dill. So aromatic. Let's get us some lettuce. I think I'm gonna have me some tacos and put this in my tacos along with the cilantro. I think that sounds good. Let me go get me another basket. So we harvested from both that black one and the raspberry. This one is doing well. It's mostly flowers, but look at these giant, those are petunias. It's a giant petunia brand from Rare Seeds. I cannot wait to see it put on flowers. Look at this. This is chamomile. Y'all, it's growing so good. So very good. That's another petunia. And then you can see that there. Looking so good. This right here is mostly tomatoes, flowers, and eggplant. It's growing nicely. I'm sorry, the sun is just out bright. It needs to be fertilized for sure, but so far so good. This one is full of flowers. Petunias here, coleus, cosmo, all the things. And then our strawberries are looking good as well. We were able to harvest 2 baskets full. This is full of lettuce just from that one little green stalk, y'all. It didn't seem like there was much on the plant, but we got a whole basket of red and green lettuce. You can see that there. And then this basket is cilantro, dill, and a little bit of spinach. Just like that, from 2 green stalks, y'all. It doesn't take much in order to grow food. It doesn't take a lot of space. It doesn't take a lot of money. There are ways to do it. If you want to grow food, it is certainly possible. Those green stalks are 2 feet of space each, literally. And so definitely take advantage of the sale. If you have not taken advantage of it, use my code LFF10. Y'all, I'm happy. I am so happy. Y'all, just in a short amount of time, I've probably been out here 30, 45 minutes. We were able to start our purple hull peas. We were able to start our dahlias. I was able to show you the onions. We were able to harvest from the green stalks. And so time well spent in the garden. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today in my backyard, in my garden. I hope that your gardens are doing oh so well. Let me know in the comments though if you are team direct sow, team transplant, or team start seeds. I hope that I gave you a little bit of education that'll help you. And if you haven't tried one of those methods, then definitely put it on your list to try. Remember, y'all, this is all a journey. This right here, 5 years ago, I would have never thought, but here I am harvesting food from my backyard. I can go have tacos, I can have salad, I can have whatever I want. Remember, it is a journey. Let's keep growing and let's grow together. I'll see you next time, friend. Bye for now.